Yo! In keeping with the recent theme, we're back talking about more of the Ark's idols. Today, the member of Twinkle Twin Star, Mint, joins us in battle. And in a week or two, we'll probably talk about Prika when she is out. So let's go ahead and get to it. And first, we'll talk about Mint's skills and how she compares to other B2 buffers, and then my thoughts on her at the end. So like the video and subscribe for more, and let's go. Firstly, her skill 1, here I go. When she performs a full charge attack in singing status, she gives everyone 45% of her attack as attack buff for 3 seconds, and when she performs full charge attacks in dancing status, she recovers 1.8% of her HP as HP every second for 3 seconds. Second, we got her skill 2, fantastic performance. So first, when entering full burst, she cancels dancing and singing statuses. When entering full burst while in singing status, she gives everybody 20% crit rate, 50% projectile explosion damage buff, and 32% pierce damage. Lastly, her burst skill, let's sing together. When she is in dancing status, she gets singing status, and if she isn't in dancing status, she gains dancing status. She also enters sing-along status and gives everybody 30% attack damage, 40% max ammo, and 45% crit damage for everyone. So the entire kit is most suited for rocket launcher users, but she also has a lot of mixed general buffs that many characters can benefit from. And with that said, now let's take a look at how she compares to other buffers. So first off, we got the Neon, Cindy, Star Niece, and Treasure Privity. With Crown, these two did 3.15 billion and 3.1 billion damage, and a total of 9.7 billion damage. So this is going to be the control group. And then we got Marie as a B2, and in this team both B3s did much less damage, especially Neon. This team sitting at around 75% of Crown, but then we got Mint. Here, Neon did slightly less than the control, but Cindy did about the same damage. So in terms of buffing here, Mint is comparable to Crown in this team, but the overall damage falls a bit short, the team doing about 87% of control. Next up, I tried her in the win team with Liberaglio and SBS, and as expected, the overall damage is much lower with Mint because we lose Nayuta's contribution, but the individual values for Liberaglio and SBS are comparable. Liberaglio doing about 130 million less, but SBS doing about 300 million more, so she may be a viable support for the win team in an off-element raid. Following that, I got her in a water team with Snow White Heavy Arms, Treasure Helm, and Treasure Privity. First, with Crown, Snow White did 3.2 billion and Helm dropped 1.77 billion, but when used with 8, they dropped down to 2.7 and 1.3 billion respectively, and with Mint, the damage also dropped but less so. Snow White just shy of 2.9 billion and Helm at 1.5 billion, and again the total damage between Mint and 8 teams being roughly the same at 75% of control. Next up, the crit team, playing into her crit buffs, comparing Mint to Grave. Grave does more damage than Mint, so overall damage is the same, but Snow White gets more out of Mint here. Here she gains about 200 million, and Ada also gains about 200 million damage, so Mint performs quite well in this team, and much better than I was expecting it to. Then I tried her in a more pierce damage focused team with Bunny Milk and Red Hood. Comparing her to 8, Mint again comes out on top. Bunny Milk doing about 20 million less, and Red Hood did about 110 million more. The total damage though being slightly lower than with 8. And lastly, I tried her in this more general team that also focuses on crit rate, especially Eve. So again, we got Crown, Aid, and Mint. Crown is clearly a superior buffer in general, but Mint being better than Aid. Eve came quite close in terms of damage with Mint to the team with Crown. Rappy did 400 million less, and Mint team overall came in at 80% of control. So overall, there seems to be a trend that Mint buffs the individual B3s better than Aid, but the overall team damage comes pretty close or is a bit lower than the other B2s outside of Crown and maybe Nayuta. For the investment, I recommend going for 7 on skill 1, 7 on skill 2, and 7 to 10 on the burst skill. And for the overall lines, while they are not necessary, getting attack and ammo will be beneficial for her buffing ability and continuance. So my final thoughts on Mint are this: she is pretty great. That is, She is not better than Crown, although in some teams she comes close in terms of buffs for each of the B3s, and she isn't as good as Nayuta either, but she is as good or better when compared to the other B2 characters, mainly Aid and Grave and others that we currently have. She is also quite versatile with a wide variety of buffs, and I can see her being used quite frequently as a plugin in B2 for all kinds of teams in raids. So overall a very good character, and we still don't know what Prika will bring to the table, and perhaps she will be amazing and Mint's value will increase even further. I would definitely recommend picking up a copy of her or putting her on a wishlist after the event is over and building her as well. Overall, I'm going to be placing her in a double S tier alongside Bunny Aid. And that is all that I have for y'all. If you enjoyed the video, like it and sub for more. Stay tuned for the Prika review when she comes out. Till next time, take care.